OnePlus has recently released their latest tablet in the Indian market for around the 50K mark. It is priced reasonably and is easily the most powerful Android tablet available at this price range. Here's what it's good at and where it lacks in just a few short minutes. This box is your typical OnePlus affair. It has a life-size picture of the tablet on the front and the underside is all in OnePlus signature red. This is the higher of the two variants and in the storm blue color. The OnePlus Stylus 2 is a great addition to this tablet and a good deal for 5,499 rupees. Now inside the box, besides the tablet itself, you find an 80-watt Super VOOC charger that promises really rapid charging for the big 12,140 mAh battery, and inside this 13.2-inch tablet, you also get a USB A to C charger in signature red OnePlus color that feels nice and strong. That said, both sides really should be USB Type-C in this day and age. Now taking the plastic sleeve off the tablet itself reveals a rather nice and premium feeling product in your hand. I was really impressed by the storm blue color. That looks really professional and gives the tablet a very premium look. The dual cameras are now located sensibly in the corner and the OnePlus logo looks nice, and the 3 pogo pins are the only other feature on the back. The pencil comes in its own simple box, and after you take out the sliding tray where it resides, you are greeted with a very nice textured feel around the pencil. The metallic back of the pencil is a nice touch, and so is the inclusion of an extra tip inside the box. Make sure you do not lose this. Setting up this device has to be one of the simplest affairs I have come across in recent times, and within minutes I was able to set it up as a fresh device. There was no bloatware and no unnecessary setup items. The Face Unlock was a single scan and much quicker than the Face ID scan that I'm used to with Apple devices. But it is no equal to Face ID. More on that later. One of the strangest things that I struggled with initially, at least, was finding the right position for the stylo on the tablet. I mean, it tends to attach loosely, slightly off-center to the correct position, and that position does not secure it and does not connect it to the tablet if using it for the first time, like I was here. That led me to further go through the menu and trying to connect it via Bluetooth settings. Of course, when you do figure out the correct position, it snaps very firmly to the tablet and prompts you to connect, and then shows the battery level of the stylo. But even later I managed to attach it incorrectly, something that you just can't do with the iPads and the Apple Pencil. Let me talk about the battery first. From the box it came with around 45% of battery, and I connected the Super VOOC adapter whilst finishing the setup. The charging speed was expectedly great. However, what impressed me the most was that was on Saturday and today is Tuesday, and I haven't still charged it again. And it still shows 37% battery left, despite me having used it every day for a while. The battery life appears to be genuinely great, and this has included a mix of web browsing, YouTube, and Netflix. Now getting to the heart of the matter, this is a premium feeling and very slim at just 5.97 mm thick tablet that is priced around the 50,000 rupees mark and is powered by the best SoC Android devices currently can get, the Snapdragon 8 Elite. You can also configure it with up to 16 GB of RAM, 512 GB of storage, and that is the very version you see here. The benefits of plenty of RAM are immediately obvious when you switch between tabs in Chrome. You find that most of your browsing stays in place without the need for a refresh. It is a heavy tablet though, at 687 grams with the Stylus 2 attached, which means it is always a handful. You always feel the need to protect it with a case, but that will just make it heavier. In fact, the decision to offer just one size, and that to a large 13-inch size, is a bit questionable, because then they're aiming for the laptop replacement market without clear availability of their keyboards and also lacking functionality when it comes to things like proper external display support. Talking of which, when you connect this tablet to a USB-C display, you just get a mirroring of the tablet screen with empty areas on a 16:9 monitor. It's just as good then that the main tablet display is vivid and sharp. It is still an IPS display, and that means in dark environments you see the limitations quite quickly. But that does not detract from the image quality, which is generally excellent. The brightness will not compete with iPad Pros at just 600 nits maximum, but in isolation it is bright enough and never a cause of complaint. Curiously, the tablet comes with tap to wake functionality disabled from factory. You have to enable it from the settings, and I found this to be quite unintuitive initially when it would require a press of the power button to wake up, especially since this tablet does not have a fingerprint sensor. It seems unnecessary to press the power button and then swipe and wait for it to recognize your face, and then it gets unlocked. Face unlock is nowhere near as accurate as Face ID on iOS devices, and sometimes will show you a sad smiley when it fails to recognize your face with no obstructions and in good lighting. Another refresh of this usually solves this, but this is not as seamless as with Apple devices where you forget it's protecting you in the background. At night, it is even less reliable, and I have mostly had to resort to entering the numeric passcode to unlock it in the dark. The lack of sophisticated hardware in this department just cannot be ignored. It's fine for what it is, but definitely feels lower tier than the best that there is. Palm rejection on this device is subpar. This is a large and heavy tablet with slim bezels, and you tend to use your arms to support its weight, but many times that ends up being registered as a touch, and the other finger ends up doing a secondary action like zooming into the screen, etc. Performance is generally superb, as expected. There is no lag when switching between apps, scrolling through media-heavy web pages or images, going and exiting full screen on videos, etc. I won't go into specifics like gaming, etc., but this being the most powerful SoC you can get in the Android space, there are no surprises, especially combined with copious amounts of RAM. I like the resizable floating keyboard. This gets out of the way of content and is still big enough on this 13-inch display to input text into fields on web pages. The speakers are great. There are 8 of them with 4 bass units and 4 tweeters, so volume is never really an issue. You can still hear some tinniness in the audio though, unlike something like an iPad Pro, but again, more than adequate for this price point. Wi-Fi is well catered for, with Wi-Fi 7 being present. In the real world performance at home, where I have several repeaters and signal boosters, this tablet tends to stick to the original radio it connects to, which makes the Wi-Fi speed suffer if the distance increases, even if there is a repeater close by. It will eventually switch, but it is slower to do so than other devices I have, meaning therefore that there can be significant difference in download speeds as you move around the house. Overall, this certainly is the best Android tablet at this price range. It makes clear sacrifices in areas like the lack of cellular connectivity and an OLED display to keep the price point down, and it mostly works. Any higher than this and this tablet would stop making sense as you start comparing it with iPads and Samsung tablets with OLED displays, which offer a more satisfying visual experience when watching videos, arguably a prime use case scenario for a tablet. But in this segment, it feels decidedly more premium than something like a Xiaomi Pad 7 or even the Pro. It's a combination of the premium feeling hardware, but also the nice clean interface. So definitely give this tablet a look if in the market for a large tablet without breaking the bank. If you like this content, please consider subscribing to this channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.